To have you with us on this busy afternoon. Here's Max in Memphis. He has a chance to say hello. Max, welcome. How are you today, buddy? What's on your mind?
Doggy, first of all, Gabe Kapler is a total stiff. He stunk as a player, and he's going to stink as a manager. We're going to see that. So,
well, it's a little early for that. We got to give Gabe a chance, but that was not a resounding start. I mean, that is not. That's
brain dead managing.
Oh,
anyway,
it is. It's not managing. It's not managing with your eyes. It's managing by. You can't manage a ball game based on what the book says to do a week before the game is played. It's because Herrera hasn't hit Tehran. We're not going to play him on opening day. The kid's part of your future, and then you're gonna put a shift on for Ryan Flaherty. I mean, you must be kidding.
Doggy, if you follow that team, he's like the heart and soul of that team. He's a 3-hitter, and he's benching him on opening day. Anyway,
next.
Listen, this woman. I think it belies the cult of Tiger, though. This woman says Tiger was such an animal staying in her house. Why didn't you let him stay there for 7 years? If Tiger was still winning Masters, guess what? He would still be staying in her house.
I guess you can argue, and it sounds like it was on more than one occasion, Max, and good call. I guess you can argue that maybe she should have put an end to it after the first year, but put yourself in her shoes. She's a lady who lives in Augusta, doesn't make a ton of money, and every year, Tiger Woods now wants to stay at your house. You charge him whatever the rate is. You leave for 4 or 5 days every year. Now, when you come back to the house in the middle of April, you're mad. But by the next March, you're okay again. You're going to say no? Eventually, you might. You're going to let that go a couple times. So I don't kill her on that. Matt in Philly, he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Matthew, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today, pal?
Hey, doggy. Happy Good Friday. This is just fascinating to me, too, because from my friends in the golf community at a lot of the nice clubs, the Wingfoots, the Marions, down here in Philly, Tiger's behavior, just from a total lack of respect towards people in the game, has been known for years. He is not a respectful man. It's a gentleman's game. He has always had a chip on his shoulder, and I just find it fascinating now that, you're absolutely right. He's going to give CBS such a hard time next weekend. It's going to be insane. If he wins, once again, he's going to give CBS such a hard time due to this book, Holding a Grudge, when he has no one to blame but himself, okay? When he came to Wingfoot for the U.S. Open back in 2006, walking into the clubhouse, head of Wingfoot, Tiger walking Wingfoot, shake his hand, Tiger walk right by him. Down here at Marion, same thing. Just doesn't acknowledge people, doesn't show the respect that a player of his caliber with a 1 in a million type talent that anyone would kill for, that Jack Nicklaus knew and showed the respect to people, Arnold Palmer, these are all gentlemen of the sport. Tiger is not. So I just find it very fascinating that Tigers would be upset about this book when it's all his own fault.
Well, again, good call. We haven't heard from Tiger on this book yet. He's not going to answer any questions about it. I can tell you that, Matt. You know that. Next week. I don't know if all the writers are going to read the book by next Tuesday. Plus, at the Masters, they're going to protect Tiger. There might be a rule that you can't even ask him about the book when he does his Tuesday press conference. I could see that possibly occurring too. No questions on the book, please. And there's a lot of things in the book that you love. But I am not in the idea now that these two authors are making money off tough. I don't know. That's the way it goes. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get you put this kind of work in. Armin worked 3 years on this book. You put this kind of work in this kind of book. 3 years these two guys did. Benedict too. 3 years. You put this kind of work in with this book, and you have this kind of reputation to maintain, which they have. What are you supposed to do? When you put the book out when nobody's going to read it? Or do you put the book out when we're starting to think about golf and Tiger Woods? You'd be an idiot. You'd be an idiot. And I'll tell you right now, I want to know about Tiger Woods. Okay? I want to know. I want to know how he acts and how his old man is a pain in the neck. And I don't like the mother either, as I told you 1,000 times. I want to know. I also want to know how great he is. I want to know how much he works, how much he practices, his uncanny level of concentration. I want to know that too. And his love of the game. I want to know that. That's part of the story. But I want to know how he acts like a complete idiot. I want to know this. Simple. I have a right to know. I'm a sports fan. I mean, when I throw him in jail, but I have a right to know. He's a sports figure. And he is not going to like this book. I'm telling you right now. because, he doesn't care. We all know that he works hard and he's great and he's got this special skill and, he's a great concentration. He's a tremendous competitor. We all know about this anyway. What we don't know necessarily is what about the other stuff. Now we know about the girlfriends and we all know that mess, but we don't know about this other stuff. That little passage right there shows you all you need to know about Tiger. And there's many more little stories in there regarding that, but that shows you all you need to know about Tiger. All you need to know. Tiger is one of those guys that if you're on his side, if you're part of that inner circle, it treats you well. Now, if you go outside that circle and you cross him in any shape, way, or form, even if it's minor, in his eyes, you're done. You're sick. You're out. You're garbage. You're a non-factor. It's the way Tiger operates. Very strange guy. And I blame a lot of it. Now, some of it's on him. You can't blame it all on the parents. But I blame it a lot on those parents. I understand they raised a great champion. And there's something to say for that, too. I understand that. And it becomes, you have to be almost obsessive and ridiculous about it. And no childhood and all those kinds of things. I get it. So, it's not easy to turn out to be one of those kind of champions that gets along with everybody. Arnold Palmer was a tremendous womanizer too, that people don't like to talk about too much, but it was. Nobody's perfect. I get that. And it's a tricky spot, but they did a horrendous job with him. Horrendous. Here's Vinny in Jersey from a social skill perspective. Yes, Vinny.
Hi, I've been listening to you since I was about 10 years old. I still love listening to you. The one thing, though, I think you tend to do sometimes a little unfairly, especially because you got the platform. I hear you say things about a lot of these athletes, he's a bad guy, or he's insulting their character and personality. You don't know a lot of these guys. What we hear is we get one perspective on these athletes. Is sometimes they do these acts that make them look, they don't look good. You could say they might have acted or come across like a jerk in a lot of situations, but I've heard you do it a lot. I'm struggling to recall specifics, but I hear you say it a lot, and every time you say it, I'm like, give the guy a fair chance. They don't get a chance to respond. You don't hear their sides of the story, and you it's like you rush to judgment on their personality with these things. And part of it too with Tiger, maybe he's a little guarded because he's been put in a lot of settings in the profession he's in.
Well, let me ask you a question. I read you that passage at the top of the hour. Is that the way you want on anybody to behave? Walking into a house that he's been using and leave the damn thing as a mess, never say thank you, never write a note, never do anything, and barely pay a phone bill back to Sweden? That's the way you want a person of any ilk, whether he's an IBM executive, an athlete, or a guy Joe Schmo. That's the way you act?
No. It's a jerk thing to do. Who knows what the hell he was paying? Maybe he felt, no matter what you're paying, you don't treat people that way. I agree with you 100%. All I'm saying is, just when you cast somebody out, it's a bad guy. You don't know that he's a bad guy. He might have had a bad moment, might have done a bad thing. Who knows what other circumstances were involved in it? And then, he's in a profession, too, where he probably wasn't all that welcome in half the clubs where he was playing for a while till he had to prove himself for a lot of reasons. One's his background, two is all the circus he brings with him every time he goes somewhere. So that's all I'm saying. I think sometimes we don't give a fair shake and we cast judgment on some of these guys.
I get it. Tiger, the idea, one thing about Tiger now in the family, Tiger was not a product of growing up. He got a chance to play anywhere he wanted. This is not a scenario here. He's not Lee Elder, all right? He is not Jackie Robinson. This is he blew off Rachel Robinson and Jackie Robinson Day in New York when he went to Cancun on vacation, when he was invited by the president to join him at Shea with Jackie Robinson Day in '97. So he is not Jackie. He is not a trailblazer by any stretch of the. He's a golfer. He is not a trailblazer. So let's not, and I'm only going by what I read. I don't know anything about Tiger. What do I know about Tiger? He's never been on. We've never met him. We've never really had any conversations with him. We don't get a lot of golfers on, right? Who are Freddie Couples? We love. He comes on. Fred's a good guy. We've talked to Jack once or twice. We get Billy Andrade on once, Frankie Nobilo. What do we get? Well, it's not like we're right. Johnny Miller. It's not like we're out there getting a ton of guys on. But I'm only going by what I read here, and I'll tell you right now. I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to say it all week. For those of you out there who think this is a hatchet job, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'll trust Armin Katayan with my life. I'll trust Armin Katayan I don't know Jeff Benedict. I would trust Armin Katayan with my life. How's that? How's that? With my life. If Armin Katayan wrote it, it's true. 15 in front of the hour. We continue. Mad Dog.